Hello, my dear students, wherever you are in our beloved Tunisia. I hope that you are all doing well and that you are ready to take part with us in a new TV lesson for back students. Well, I'm Mrs. Wided Shalghaf and I will be your guide during the various parts of this lesson. As you see, today we'll start Unit 2, Education Matters. And I will deal with the first lesson, which is entitled School-Related Words, and which has been prepared in collaboration with Mrs. Samar Dridi for the design and Mrs. Lemaatwi for the supervision. Our main objective for today is to be able to write a block entry to talk about a school-related topic. And of course, you'll be well prepared to deal with the writing task after taking part in the various activities that we have planned for you. Well, let's have a look at the content of today's lesson. Well, we start with the introductory activities, then you'll watch a video and read a related text, and finally, we'll focus on writing a block entry. Right. We said that the topic of today's lesson is about education. So, could you think of any words related to this topic? So, you could jot them down if you wish. Right? I give you some time to think. Ready? Now? Let's have a look at this word cloud. I'm sure that you've chosen some of the words right there. Let's examine it more closely. You see here teacher, learning, students, homework, classrooms. You have also access, that means having the possibility to go to school without any problems of transport or whatsoever. We have also the word compulsory. I guess you know it. It means obligatory. And here's an example for you. In Tunisia, it's compulsory to enroll children at a primary school at the age of 6. So, but what should we teach children exactly? Well, we should teach them literacy, that is the ability to read and write. So, and of course the opposite is illiteracy, that is the inability to read and write. So you notice here that we have added a negative prefix to get the antonym or the opposite of this word. Now let's focus on this big size word. Right, it is a key one indeed. That is every child has a right to good education. But are we sure that all the children enjoy this right? Well, we'll have to check this after comparing the two following pictures. So look at the first picture. You see here a modern classroom where the students are using their tablets. It's clear that it is well equipped and the teacher has a chance to control his pupils and to explain to them what they don't understand. So it's a good situation. It's clear that they enjoy access to good quality education. Let's move on to the next one. You see here an overcrowded classroom, and there is just one teacher who's supposed to teach them. So there's a lack of teachers here. And if we concentrate on the equipment, it's clear that it is ill-equipped because there aren't enough chairs and desks for all these students. So what do you conclude then? Well, in the second picture, children are denied or deprived of access to good quality education. That means they don't enjoy this right. And notice here, we use denied without a preposition, whereas with deprived we have to use of. And my dear students, please don't say to be deprived from, because you tend to make this mistake sometimes. All right, now let's recapitulate the problems together. Fine, the first one is overcrowded classrooms. The second one is shortage of teachers, that means not having enough teachers. And the last one is ill-equipped classrooms. Now, we'd better look for the solutions then. Right, For instance, we could donate money, and this money could be used either to repair, for example, damaged equipment, or to buy new school equipment, or it could be also used to buy new school things for the poor pupils, right? We have also sponsoring poor children, and to sponsor here means to pay money, spend money on, or to be financially responsible for. And of course, this is the duty of rich people. Then volunteer work. You know that many teachers volunteer to work in distant areas in order to compensate for the loss of teachers in those deprived places. Okay, and then we come to the role played by national and international organizations. So here we cite the example of UNICEF and UNESCO. UNESCO because it's concerned with education, and UNICEF because its purpose is to secure children's rights, including education, of course. And there is also WFP, which is the acronym for the World Food Programme. And we may wonder what relation exists between food and education. Well, I leave you to discover this by yourselves. Right, now you're going to watch a video. Fine. Before watching the video, I'd like you to look at this snapshot, which is taken from the same video, and I'd like you to study it. Here you can see children holding their caps happily, and we have here the title School Meals. And if you look at the slogan here, I hope you can read it. So, fill the cap, feed a dream. So, guess the purpose of the video. Now, is it to invite people to celebrate an event, or to ask people to donate money, or to urge children to be more hopeful? Well, I leave you now for some time to give you the opportunity to watch this video. Okay, so let's do so.
Every child, no matter where they come from or what language they speak, all have one thing in common: potential. Potential for greatness. Potential to change the world as we know it. Is she the next Marie Curie? Jane Austen? Florence Nightingale? Harriet Tubman? Is he the next Steve Jobs? Pele? William Shakespeare? Nelson Mandela? Future greatness is all around us, and the key to unlocking that greatness is a good education. Today, 66 million students across the developing world will go to school hungry. We have the power to make a positive change. We can help break the cycle of hunger and poverty by supporting United Nations World Food Program, which provides school meals to more than 24 million children each year. School meals help stop chronic hunger and improve children's nutritional health, increase their ability to learn, and give them a chance to develop their untapped potential. School meals give students an important key to a better future: an education. When school meals are served, more kids enroll in and attend school. Fewer drop out. Just 25 cents fills a cup with a healthy meal, and $50 can feed a child for a whole school year. No one can learn when they're hungry, so join World Food Program USA and help provide children with the nourishment and nutrition they need. Together, we can feed the young potential of the world, enrich their futures, and watch all the amazing things they can and should achieve. World Food Program USA. Fill the cup. Feed a dream. World Food Program USA. Visit us at WFPUSA.org.
Okay, here we are again. It's time now to check your guess. So this is the correct answer. The purpose of this video is to ask people to donate money, of course, to help the poor and hungry children. Right, now I'd like you to answer the following questions related to the objectives of WFP. So, So underline the correct option or options. You could have more than one correct answer. So the main objectives of WFP are providing school meals to hungry children. Do you think it is correct? Do you remember the people distributing food to children? So it is correct, of course. Advertising for the latest farming techniques. Did they talk about farming techniques? No. So this is not correct. Improving children's nutritional health. Yes, that's true, of course. Encouraging children to stay at school. Yeah, if you were careful enough, they mentioned this detail. So it is correct. I'd like you to focus on the logo of WFP because later on we'll focus on it. Right. The amount of money needed to feed a child for a whole school year is $20 or $50 or $100. I hope you remember this figure, right? It is $50. Fine. Now, comment on the following argument given by WFP to convince donors. No one can learn when they are hungry. What does this mean? Could you explain it using your own words? Well, it means that children with an empty stomach cannot learn properly. And I think that you have gone through this experience. Whenever you are hungry, you will not be able to concentrate in class. Okay? Fine. Now, after dealing with the video, let's focus on reading. Right? So, before reading the text, I'd like you to focus on this picture and then guess what the text is about. Right, so you see here a man wearing overalls, he looks happy. If you concentrate on his clothes, there is the logo of WFP, yes, which means that this person is working for this organization. And if you concentrate on the background picture, you can see these children looking at him as if they were waiting for something. So if we link this to the background knowledge that we got from the video, they could be school children, and maybe they are waiting for help. Okay, so now I give you some time to read this text to check your guess. Okay, fine. Let's read. So I think that time is enough for you to be able to see or to know the main idea dealt with in this text. Fine. So this is the correct answer. The text is about the story of a man who works for WFP. And here it's clear that it's a kind of testimonial given by this person who's talking about his personal experience while working with this organization. Fine. Now let's move more deeply into the reading. Read paragraph 1 and fill in the table with details about Stanley. So mission, that means what he is supposed to do, what he is expected to do. Then the beneficiaries of his work, that means the people who benefit from his work. Right, so try to focus on part 1 and answer. Right, so I hope you found the correct answer. So, his mission is delivering food assistance. And who are the beneficiaries? So, these are the vulnerable people in southern Malawi. And here, vulnerable is a new word. So, try to find its correct meaning. So does it mean strong or weak or wealthy, rich? So if I were you, I wouldn't choose strong or wealthy because we don't deliver food to wealthy people. Doesn't make sense. So the correct answer is weak, of course. Good. Now find out the children's reaction when receiving help. So focus on the last lines of paragraph 1. Okay, so they are joyfully shouting, porridge, porridge, porridge. Okay, by the way, porridge is a kind of food that is eaten for breakfast and is consumed hot. Right, so this is of course the feeling of these poor children. How about the person who gives help? If you look at the quote here, see what Mr. Stanley says. I feel useful and proud of myself for helping people in need. This motivates me to work hard. So this person is proud because he's helping these needy children. This leads us to talk about the moral character of this person, right? So here you are asked to circle the adjectives that best describe Stanley. Is he supportive? Do you think so? Well, he is. If you concentrate on the quote, it's clear that he's willing to help others. So he is, of course, supportive. Lazy? Do you think so? Well, he says, this motivates me to work hard. He cannot be lazy. That's not correct. How about enthusiastic? Well, it means that he's interested in his job. So, do you think so? Yes, because he says this motivates me, and if you focus on the last 4 lines of paragraph 1, he says, I'm always inspired every time I arrive at school, etc. So he is enthusiastic. Right, devoted, that means he's willing to sacrifice his time and energy for a noble cause, and this is correct because if you focus on line 4 and 5, he says, okay, I have on more than 3 occasions slept on the road when the track got stuck in the mud. So it's clear that this person is devoted to his job. Can he be indifferent? Well, if he were indifferent, he wouldn't care about needy children. Okay, now pick out a detail from paragraph 2 showing that delivering food to school children is the main objective of WFP. So focus on the second paragraph. It's not long. You can find the answer quickly, right? Okay, so providing school children with nutritious meals is a top priority for WFP. So you notice here the word nutritious. Let's explain it together. Fine. By the way, I'm going to repeat it again for you. It's pronounced nutritious. Right. Does it mean cheap but tasty, or healthy and nourishing, or expensive but tasteless? Right. Which one, according to you, is more logical? Of course, it's number 2. That means healthy and nourishing. Thank you. Fine. We move on to the next word, priority. So, does it mean a useless thing, or a risky thing, or a very important thing? So, normally it should have a positive meaning here. It cannot be useless or risky. So, it is a very important thing. Thank you very much. Right. What are the 2 benefits of providing children with nutritious meals? Well, providing children with nutritious meals, right, boosts their attendance and also helps them to achieve their full potential. So, the word boost here is a new term. Let's try to explain together. Here we have 3 possibilities. Does it mean decreases, or stagnates, remains in the same position, or increases? Right. If we boost their attendance, it cannot be stagnate, so it is automatically increases. Thank you. Now, after focusing on the main ideas of this text, let's now focus on grammar. So, study the following sentence, said by Stanley, of course. The conditions were too bad to let me continue my journey. could Stanley continue his journey? Why or why not? So, Stanley couldn't continue his journey because the conditions were too bad or extremely or very bad. Right. So, when I say Stanley couldn't continue, it is of course an impossible action. Right. So, what is the structure used to link the two parts of the sentence? So, here we see the two parts of the sentence and we have something that is used to combine them together. Right. So, we see here too plus bad, which is an adjective, plus to plus base form, and here I mean a bare infinitive verb, right? So here's the new structure, and now what does the structure express? Well, it expresses excess or an impossible action. So when we cannot do an action, we use to be, to plus adjective plus to plus base form. And when I say excess, is something above the normal, more than the normal. For example, I am too tired to walk. Okay, fine. Now let's practice more this new structure. Fine. Express the bracketed sentence differently using the study structure, to plus adjective plus to plus base form. And the pictures here might help you. Right. Today, access to good quality education is a big challenge. This is particularly noticeable in remote areas where schools are very far, so students cannot reach them. So, how can I use the new structure? So, normally schools are, instead of very, we replace it with to plus the adjective far plus to plus base form. And here we get the answer. Schools are too far to reach. Okay? I hope it's clear. Let's move on to the next example. Due to the lack of means of transport, the poor kids have to walk long distances. What makes things even worse for them is that the roads are slippery and their bags are very heavy, so they cannot carry them. Right. So, again, we use their bag subjects, then verb to be are. Then instead of very, we use to and adjective heavy, then to, then carry. So here's the answer. Their bags are too heavy to carry. As a result, when they arrive to school, most of them are very tired, so they cannot concentrate. So they are, we use again to plus adjective tired, then to plus base form. Here is the answer. They are too tired to concentrate in class. I hope that you were able to do this exercise and to answer it correctly. Thank you. Now, we come to the last stage of our lesson. So, let me recapitulate for you where we started with the introductory activities, which permitted us to introduce new vocabulary. Then in the reading and also in the video, we gathered ideas and we dealt with structure. By now, you should be able to write your piece of writing because you are well prepared for this. Okay? Right. We talked in the previous reading about one of the workers of WFP. Now we'll focus on one of the beneficiaries who had the chance to get help from this WFP. Okay, right? So let's start then. Here is the topic. I'm going to read it for you. Aminata is an Asian girl who managed to pursue her education and get a degree thanks to WFP. As an act of gratitude, she posts a 10-line blog entry on the WFP website to thank the agency for its support and for the great change it brought to her miserable life. She also urges people to donate money in order to help poor children get educated. Write her blog entry. So, the first thing to do is, as I did, to read the topic very carefully, because when we write something, we should be aware of main important things, like, for example, audience and genre and style and purpose. So here, for instance, what is the genre that we are going to use? Will it be an article or a letter or maybe an advertisement? So here, read carefully. Right, she's going to write a 10-line blog entry. So this is the genre. Now let's talk about the target audience. So who is she talking to? You can infer this from the very beginning of the topic. So she has two addressees, WFP, and also potential donors. Fine. Now let's talk about the purpose. What's her purpose here? Okay, let's see. It is to thank the agency for its support and to urge people to donate money. Right, and of course we shouldn't underestimate the style because it's very important. If we know the target audience, we should think about the style that should be used. For example, if you are addressing educated people, you use an elaborate, difficult language with lots of technical words. Whereas if you address illiterate people, you should to simplify things for them. So here, the style should be, for example, informal but polite. We should use strong verbs and adjectives, and also use the first person pronoun, that means I, and we should address the reader. I say you, right? Now let's have a look at the layout and content of the blog entry. This is how it should look like. Right, so we start of course with a catchy title. I mean a title that attracts the attention of the readers and urges them to read this blog entry, and a photo of the person, or the writer of course, of this entry. We start with an introduction in which the writer states his purpose of writing. Then in the body we talk about personal experience, and here she'll talk about in the first part her problems. Then in the second part she'll deal with the solutions. And then the last part will be the conclusion, which is generally a call for action. At the end, the writer, of course, writes her name and occupation or origin, which is rather optional. All right. Now, I have given you a sample blog entry. We are going to check whether it respects all the guidelines that are included in the following checklists. Right? All right, here is our checklist. As you see, there are three main parts. We have the layout, that means the form, then the organization of the ideas, and then the writing style. Fine, let's concentrate on the layout. Normally, we need a catchy title. Let's have a look where it does not exist at all. There is no title at all. How about the photo? There is no photo. Right, so there is a problem right there. How about the three main parts? Let's check together. Well, there are three main parts. It's okay. How about the writer's name and background information, which is of course optional, right? You can see it right there. Aminata, graduate student, beneficiary of the school feeding program. So that's okay. What will I do now is to ask you to add the missing part, that is the title. Okay, here you have three possible titles. We try to choose the most suitable one. Could it be Save My Life Before It's Too Late? Of course, it's not correct because this girl received help and she does not need any more help. WFP's mission in the developing world, well, they did not mention the developing world at all. Thanks to WFP, I now have my degree. So this is the most suitable one indeed. Thank you. So see what we did now. We inserted the missing part. We've added the title. We've also added the photo. Now the layout is fixed up. We have no problems at all. I'm going to read this sample blog entry for you. Finally, I got my degree. I'd like to thank WFP for helping me to reach my goal. I hope that you will all donate to this organization. Your support will empower it to save more lives. A few years ago, I used to lead a miserable life. My family suffered from extreme poverty. Actually, my father was too old to work. As a result, I had to leave school. I felt so desperate at the time. All my dreams were dashed on the ground of the harsh reality. Fortunately, WFP came to our rescue. It brought a huge change in the lives of all children in our deprived village. My parents encouraged me to come back to school. They wanted me to get nutritious food. I owe WFP my success, thanks to which I've become more hopeful about the future. Therefore, I kindly ask you to donate money to WFP. With just $50, you can help poor students pursue their studies. So don't hesitate to help. Together, we can sponsor these vulnerable children and break the cycle of despair. Then Aminat, a graduate student beneficiary of the school feeding program. Right? Now, let's continue now with the organization of the ideas. Right, normally, we should have an introduction in which we state our purpose. Let's see. Okay, she says to thank WFP and to donate to this organization. It is correct then. Also in the body we should have two supporting details. Let's have a look at the blog entry. Well, that's correct. In the first part, she talks about her past condition and the problems she suffered from and how she was obliged to leave school and how she suffered from that, of course, how she felt desperate. In the second part, she talked about the solutions provided by WFP and how it helped her to come back to school and to pursue her education, and even her feeling changed. She became more hopeful about the future. So that's correct. How about the conclusion, which is generally a call for action? Let's see. Okay, she says, I kindly ask you to donate money to WFP. So here, that's correct. She is asking people to contribute and to donate money to this organization. Now, this is concerning the organization. It's okay. We move on to the writing style. Right, it should be informal but polite. Okay, let's have a look. Right, I'd like to thank, etc. I'd here is contracted form, so it is informal. And I'd like together is a polite form. So that's correct. Use of the first person pronoun. Right, look at paragraph 1. She says, I got my degree, I'd like, I hope. So that's correct. Good. Right, short paragraphs and sentences. Well, did she use short paragraphs and sentences? Let's see together. Okay, so in most paragraphs are between 3 and 4 lines. So they just include 3 to 4 lines, which is short. Okay, now how about the sentences? You concentrate on the sentences. I got my degree a few years ago. I used to lead a miserable life, and so on. So all these sentences are short. So that's correct. Fine. Now, normally we should have strong verbs and adjectives. Let's check whether this is respected or not. Okay. So we have empower, that means to give you power, strong indeed. Dash, that means destroyed on the ground of reality. To pursue, that means to continue. Here there is also a strong meaning in it. And then the adjectives, we have extreme, desperate, harsh, deprived, vulnerable, which we saw in the reading, of course. Okay, so that's correct. So, what's your conclusion? It's clear that it is a good block entry. Thank you very much. Now, after understanding and dealing with all the various aspects, all the things that should be included in a block entry, I think it's high time to write your own block entry. Now it's your turn to write, okay? As a homework task, you are asked to conduct a search online to find out information about the projects implemented by WFP in Tunisia. Then, after gathering enough information about that, you are asked to write a block entry. So, here's the topic. You are a representative of WFP in Tunisia. Write a block entry to talk about your experience and the different projects that you participated in implementing. Then encourage young Tunisians to volunteer to work for this organization in order to help it achieve its objectives. Write your block entry using the guidelines stated in the checklist. Okay? I hope that by now you have no excuse. You will be able to write a good block entry. Thank you very much. Let's wrap up and see what we have learned today. Well, we dealt with vocabulary, new vocabulary like boost, compulsory, denied, literacy, nutritious, priority, vulnerable. And we've introduced a new grammar point, to plus adjective plus to plus base form to express excess. And also, by now, you can write a block entry using a checklist. With these words, we come to the end of this lesson. I'd like to thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that this lesson has been beneficial to you. Thank you very much, and see you.